And the scene is set in the, what would you call it? Small, I suppose you might. The small town of Canton, outside of New Salem, much like Fletcher or Sterling, or maybe the Crescent Shore. This is another small township surrounded the New Salem proper. But here on the north side of Canton, you find something you normally don't see in America. In fact, it's quite, I guess you would say, famous for being an unusual sort of building. It is a very traditional looking monastery, Buddhist monastery for that. You see everything you would see maybe in Japan. Um, you see, of course, the shrine ropes tied around trees outside. As you stand outside the gate, a monk from outside opens the door for you. It's as if you were being expected. And of course, Jean told you that you would be expected. Um, he lets you in and he directs you back, back into what appears to be a rock garden. And you don't see anything first, but you do notice that this monastery is really quiet. Every once in a while, you hear a wind chime and the cold winter air. It seems everything seems, dead because it is, after all, winter, but yet so bleakly beautiful here. You head to the rock garden, but is there anything you do before you get to the rock garden or anything?
No, she's wrapped up. For one, looks weird to be wandering around without being bundled up, even if you're not super affected by the cold. So she is bundled up uh, to blend in more than anything. Um, she's following this person's directions. She knows a little bit from the things that she's dealt with Oboro over the last dozen years or so,
Mm-hmm.
on certain behaviors. So she's doing her best to be quiet, polite. She knows that they bow and don't shake hands. So
Sure. Well, you make it. You may the monks are relatively inside. If you see any of them, they might be doing a prayer at a Shinto shrine. Prayer in the Eastern sense is they're not actually saying words. They just appear to be bowing in front of a shrine, setting incense. You head to the rock garden, which is relatively empty, and you see Oboro there. She's wearing a simple kimono with a very simple pattern. It appears to be thick. She has a rake and she seems to be raking fine, very smooth gravel across the ground. This place looks like a disaster area, like maybe some sort of ordinance went off, but it doesn't seem to bother her at all. She seems to be just kind of shuffling the gravel on the ground. Every once in a while, she'll lean over and pick up a drip branch that kind of is just laying there. It's not supposed to be there, and she'll move it to a pile on a maybe like a cobble path. Um, as you come in, she looks up at you. She doesn't really smile, but she's not frowning. She just kind of acknowledges you're there.
she's seen these. They have like little versions of these kind of rock garden things. So she's gonna make sure she doesn't step on it into the rock portions as she approaches. Try and stay on the path as best she can, if possible.
Sure. And of course, this place is, again, much like the rest of the monastery, is in the wintertime very bleakly beautiful, but it seems to be pretty well lit back here. They might know that Oboro is working on it, and that appears exactly what they're doing. The hem of her kimono is a little dirty, so are her sleeves, but it's thick. Her hair is pulled back a bit. She kind of just stands the rake on end and turns to you. Good evening, my child.
Good evening, ma'am. All things going well for you?
She doesn't really answer right away. She just kind of stands there and contemplates that question. Well, I suppose not. But I am fine here. I've been given sanctuary. And I will probably be here for a while, much to my displeasure. But
Is
it
there,
is what I must do, of course.
of course, is there anything I can do to help speed up this process for you?
Hmm. I do not know yet. My mind has been too active on other things. My own well, my own sons had died in that. I was supposed to take care of them. That's why the organization exists. I took in people who had nowhere else to go, people who weren't welcome, like I wasn't welcome back in the day. We were always very misunderstood.
She kind of gives a knowing nod to being misunderstood, thinking back to her own childhood.
In any case, someone lied or something to the others, and I am in no position to correct it at the moment. But I will think of a way, and if you can help me in that, I will be sure to contact you. But that's neither here or there. Why have you come to visit me here?
There's talk about the prince and these positions he's handing out to people. And several of them I'm unfamiliar with. This chaplain and marshal positions.
She kind of looks confused when you say those two and like tilts her head a little bit. Chaplain and Marshal.
I'm guessing they relate to some feudal positions of some sort. Most of the other ones have.
Hmm. That seems to
When,
be an accurate assessment. Didn't they make the Toreador Primogen a chamberlain? And she decides who has Elysium?
yes,
Well, I'm afraid I don't know much about these positions. I've never heard of a chaplain or chamberlain or marshal in a Camarilla court before. And I am not from the Western world. So I really don't know what they would do, unfortunately. Perhaps if you spoke to the seneschal or the prince, anyone close to him, they may be able to better explain. Why do you want to know about them, though?
well,
To know who the prince has in mind for these very odd positions.
I do not, but if there are positions in court, getting members of our clan into said positions, myself or others, would be beneficial to our clan.
I agree. It's too bad our Lord Otani here doesn't take over his own clan. I think they would be run much better than they are now. Unfortunately, he likes to remain exiled, and I suppose while I'm here, I won't be as active in the court as I would like to be. So, yes, if any of us could obtain positions, good graces with our prince, that would be advantageous not only to myself, but to everyone else. If you feel you can pursue them, then do so. If you can't, then, well, at least get familiar with what they do. You never know when that information will be helpful.
Quite. Do you think our Primogen might know anything about them?
It's hard to say. As I said, I've never heard of such titles in a court before. I doubt he has as well. He might. Perhaps he's spoken with the prince, but, well,
It seems I have a date with the prince then, or the seneschal.
last I saw him, he seemed approachable enough during Elysium. But I do not know him very well. This is uncharted territory, child, you must understand. Everyone is changing. Everything is changing.
Yes, I've noticed.
I heard an interesting rumor before we were attacked at the restaurant
What's
that you
that?
might be interested. Do you know of the Whisper?
Yes.
You remember when I told you that a certain prisoner was being held by our neighbors in Sterling?
Yes.
It seems that the Whisper is trying to make a deal with them to get a hold of this prisoner. I thought that might be helpful for you.
It is. I'll talk to Whisper, see if there's anything I can do to help.
Perhaps, or maybe Beatrix would be able to help you. You seem to have a good relationship with her. Either way, yes, you do need to get in contact with the Whisper at some point, I would say. I recommend that you might have something to give him, if you can.
Mm,
No, that seems like a good policy no matter who you speak with.
of course.
I feel that I won't be able to help you much, though, child. I feel very disconnected from everything here. I do not like it. But Lord Otani has his ways, and I have sought sanctuary with him, and I do quite believe this is the best sanctuary to have.
Quite. Well, if you wish, I can keep you informed as best I can through Jane.
Yes. I don't mind if you come visit me as well, from time to time. I'll be here working on this garden.
Of course. Is there anything I can do to help with the garden?
She kind of looks at the garden, contemplating it. And like I said, as you look across the garden, it looks absolutely destroyed. Like just a disaster. And it looks like it's been this way for a while. No, this is my duty to uphold. No one should handle it but myself. And again, she seems very thoughtful as she looks out over it.
As you wish.
Though your offer to assist has been noted, I appreciate it.
We are family. That's what family does for each other.
Yes, I suppose so. And again, she seems very contemplative of that comment as well. I believe I should get back to my work.
Of course. Thank you for your time.
Of course, child.
And she's gonna give a bow and
Oboro will give a slight bow too. Of course, you'll notice that her bow is a lot more, I guess, shallow as she gives it. And as you leave, you see her turn around with the rake. She kind of stands there looking up at the sky for a moment and then around her. And then you begin to hear like the gentle scraping of the rake against gravel as you leave.
and with that, Bianca's gonna make her way back to New Salem and work on meeting up with Whisper and Beatrix and whichever of the Nosferatu she can get in touch with. And with that, this scene will come to an end.